I tell them all the time, I still ain't figured this out. I'm in it for the long run, I still ain't figured this out, man. She says she got the answers, I still ain't figured this out. He say he got the cures, I still ain't figured this out, man.
And welcome to another episode of the Crappy Awesome Podcast. It's your host, Kill C. Ray. Man, welcome back. Platformcollection.com is where you'll find us. Go there, support the artists that we support. That's the best way you could support us. Just do that. Keep that community alive. You guys know how we feel about it. If this is your first time tuning in, you can catch us on any platform where podcasts are up and thriving, but also you can catch us on the video platform on YouTube, Instagram. We're out there. But man, I got a dope guest on today, man. This is a really good friend of mine. We've known each other for years, in fact. So I've been able to watch this gentleman's career just blossom, grow, change. Man, he's been everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, my homie DJFM is in the house. What up, man? Yo, man.
Brother, how you been?
So let's go. Full disclosure. When was the last time we saw each other? What do you think? It's
about a year ago?
About a year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot obviously has changed. I've been wanting to have you on the show, man. I know you're one of those dudes who pays attention a lot to the inner workings of how things work. You keep your mind steady in that. First, let's kind of catch up. For people who might be unaware, you can go to Crappy Awesome right now and check out all the past episodes. FM has been on a few times, so you can catch up with his history and stuff. Because today we're going to catch up on some current stuff, like what's going on in his life right now and his thoughts on the current stuff. So where were you? Let's see. I think it was around March 12th when they started shutting shit down for Corona. Where were you and what was going on in your life at that time when that started?
I was actually here in Cali.
Okay.
I live near Huntington Beach, and so I'm out here on on the West Coast. For those of you that are around the world watching us.
Yep.
I was home. I had family. I try to keep family close and take care of everybody I could, my kids, my moms, everybody. And I don't know, it's kind of a nervous time, obviously, for everyone. Nobody knew what was ahead. But I took care of what I could, man. I've spent my bread on water and food and, I did, what do they call that? Like apocalyptic preparation shit.
Yeah.
I did all that. I locked the house down. I geared up in every way I could, armed up, all that. You know what I mean?
Like right away, like almost as soon as it started happening?
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be a lot worse. You know what I mean? And, I'm a big conspiracy head. You know that about me. So
yeah.
I right away thought, okay, this is it. It's going to get locked down. We're going to get put in FEMA camps. I didn't know what to expect. So I took my precautions just to play it safe.
Yeah. And what was going on as far as like, because I mean, obviously you're working, you're DJing a lot. Was that a fear? Like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to work?
Well, work immediately stopped because I was doing some local spots. Like I live near like Main Street, Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And a lot of bars out there and clubs and shit. I always wanted to hit locally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I'm off tour, I tend to just work on music here at home. But I got the itch to get up and rock in front of a crowd. So I started to do like little local spots. And I didn't even, give them my history or tell them who I was or, what I've done on tour or none of that shit. I just went in as a regular DJ and applied for the job and, and it was dope. It was dope. I kind of crept into these little bars around here and had it popping, bro. Cause, I come from that school of backyard boogies and shit like that as far as DJing goes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It was fun to hype the crowd, man. It was kind of sad when all that shit got cut off. Cause I mean, literally there hasn't been a club since the lockdown that I know of.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
hearing that some people are taking chances down there on Main Street now, but I wouldn't do it because they're like little bars. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Locked in no bar with a bunch of sick ass people. So
What would it take for you to go like, okay, I'm ready to go back? Like, what do you already know? Like in your mind, like this is what I need to see before I go back to like crowds like that.
man, I got to see numbers go down,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
You know what I mean? In cases and deaths and all that shit. You know, and yeah, there are a lot of conspiracies about how they accumulate those numbers and all that, but you know, God only knows, man. I ain't a doctor, I ain't a scientist, and I can't take a chance on getting the people I love sick or my kids. And like, I don't want this to affect my family. You know, me
Right.
taking chances shouldn't affect the people I love, so I'd rather keep it safe.
You know,
I'll wait till
you
the
know what's
numbers.
interesting, bro?
I
Um,
don't know.
I'm sorry. You know what's interesting is I feel like a lot of the like a lot of the conspiracy that I hear about it, I stay up on it as well. Like I hear it. I keep telling my friends though, like, look, regardless of what it is, obviously people are dying. Obviously people are dying, right? So even if it is a man-made thing, that's scarier than it not being a man-made thing. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
that they obviously want people dead. So to me, yeah, it's just not something to play around with because obviously there is a plan at foot. You know.
I agree.
Okay, so then that happens. Things start shutting down for you. You start
Yeah,
building the fortress
not
of
much.
FM.
But here's the thing. Here's the
Yeah,
thing. I started taking part in these events called the Orange County Sesh, and
yeah.
it's pretty much like an outdoor, sometimes indoor, like a weed swap meet.
Uh huh.
Okay, so vendors set up shop and they sell everything cannabis, CBD, and it's dope because people get to bargain for prices and shit. And there's, it's not like a dispensary where you got to pay what they ask, and it's limited to that. So it's a really cool spot. I've been doing for like 2 years now with these friends of mine. I started off DJing there, and then they kind of asked me to help them run it a little bit. So I've been taking part of all that shit and just exploring, because I've never ran a business or helped nobody run a business. So
Yeah.
this was a whole new venture for me. But being that it's cannabis is something I'm very familiar with. So I went in on it with them, man. It feels good. I'm helping these brothers put this thing together
That's
and
dope.
and run it. And
Yeah,
it's
and full disclosure, I mean, I heard even down here in San Diego, I was hearing about the Orange County Sesh a lot. I had friends that were going up to it and stuff, so I know it was doing good. It's definitely
popping.
built a dope community around it.
Well, the cool thing for me is that I still get to DJ during the COVID thing.
Yeah,
It's all spread out, and we check temperatures, we give people hand sanitizers, gloves, whatever it takes. But the DJ booth is like, I'll say 20, 30 feet away from the whole thing. So we could play music in the background while people, social distance and do their thing
that's dope.
responsibly. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah. So I've been able to keep DJing that way. I haven't been doing clubs. I haven't been doing clubs, so to speak, but I've been able to keep DJing through the Orange County Sesh. So that's been dope.
What has been like your creative process during this time? I know a lot. It's weird, man, because we have some mutual friends here and there, and it's like a lot of our friends that are like creatives, like yourself. I've been saying this a lot on the show. Seem to have like done pretty well during this time. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of used to this kind of shit. Like they like to be alone. They like to like go into their caves, make music and that kind of stuff. What has been like your creative process as far as like music wise? What have you been doing?
Well, I mean, you're describing me to a T because
Yep.
A, I'm a loner. I'm all solo.
Yep.
B, I have built a little home studio here at home in my house. I have a secret room in my bedroom. There's a little door that looks like a closet, and it's not. It's a big ass room, bigger than my bedroom. And I've built a recording studio. I don't know if you can see much of it behind me.
Yeah. 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 Dope.
Um, yeah, but and
Damn, that
so
looks dope.
this has just been inspirational for me, man, because I tend to shine musically when times are hard.
Yeah.
That's how I express myself best as an artist, a musician.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much to talk about right now. You know, it started with Trump coming in and fucking everything up, and then it just spiraled into this mess. You know what I mean? Between George Floyd and, you know, people
Hmm.
kind of waking up to how the cops treat, you know, minorities and shit. And so, you know, this whole thing just inspired me, man. I just been locked down in the studio working day and night. And I can't front. I've even dabbled in other genres and shit. I started dabbling in dance music
Yeah.
because I got a homeboy in Miami. He's a Cuban brother I grew up with out there who does this like Latin style dance music. It's got like the Afro Cuban like santerias and chants,
Oh wow.
like African chant
Yeah.
and, Latin rhythms with congas and all that shit. It's really sick, dog. It's a real tribal thing.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling this. So in an homage to my homeboy Oscar G in Miami, I made something like that. And I got this dude named Oba Frank Lords from Miami. He sang on it and rocked the percussions, and he's a dude that usually rocks with Oscar G, who, like I said, is a big EDM producer and
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah.
I can't even call it EDM because it's not even electronic. It's more like a tribal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
peep. This is fucking dope.
Oh
But
man, I want to peep it. That sounds fucking. That sounds right down your alley, though. It sounds like something that you would definitely vibe with.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've always produced music, rock, hip
Hmm.
hop, all kinds of shit. But I've never tried to dabble in dance music. And you know, he's hit me up about it. Like, you know, how come you never, you know, fuck with it? And this was the perfect time to experiment and mess around in the studio. So I got into a little bit of that, and I put out a joint. As soon as that comes out, I'll let you know and shit.
Dope. Hell yeah.
I always post things about it on my IG. I haven't really talked too much yet because it's not released. But as soon as it gets dropped, I'll let everybody know what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
But then I've also been recording as much as I can for my band, the American Bastards.
Hmm.
I've been kind of laying low with it and just writing music and coming up with concepts and ideas, man. Because literally, I feel like the world's on fire right now. There's just so much to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And it's crazy because you've always come from, um, for lack of better description, like a revolutionary background, a revolutionary mentality. You're really into like causing big change with your music. That's what you like to do. You like to affect culture. But you're also one of those dudes who never keeps his mouth shut about politics and the things going on around us. Man, we got an election coming up, right, in November, and it seems like
Yep.
we're steadily moving faster towards that direction as things start to get worse. What do you? I mean, just you know, playing morning quarterback. What do you think's coming for us? Like, what direction is this going?
It's kind of hard to tell, man, because
Hmm.
you know the Trump followers are really enthusiastic about this guy.
Yeah,
They're like they're dead serious, and it almost seems like a cult. You know what I mean? The way they defend all his wrongs, all the
Ooh.
shit the guy does wrong, they find an excuse to defend this guy, no
Yeah,
matter whether it's criminal or you know morally incorrect or whatever. They'll defend this guy to the death. He's become like a messiah to some of
yeah,
these people. And it's kind of scary, right?
yeah,
But I do see the enthusiasm on the opposite side as well. How people are starting to wake up and see that this dude is a fucking monster. He doesn't love anybody. He doesn't love America. He doesn't love minorities. He doesn't even love. He can care less what color you are, even if you're white. He just cares about money.
right,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
hopefully people start to wake up a little bit on both sides uh, towards that shit and vote his ass out of office, man. Because the dude, it literally to me seems like an antichrist, man. I've watched the guy raise his head and look up at the sky and say, "Oh yeah, it's me they honor now, and me they love
yeah,
here." You know, he's like in competition with everybody, including God. So
yeah,
it just you know, there's been conspiracies I've heard to even to where you know they say that the whole trying to get kids to go back to Disney World and go to school and all this shit is because they believe there's a messiah or somebody like that coming who's gonna get in and revolutionize shit and change the world. And he's trying to kill this kid.
wow,
Right? Like I've heard every conspiracy you could think of. And not to
wow,
say that I believe them, but I like to hear them because you never know.
right,
Right.
right,
Um, another one I've heard is obviously that this virus is a plot to just population control. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
to
Yeah, that's the big one, right? That's the one that
kill
a
off
lot of people are
people.
saying.
It's easier to control a smaller group of people in the world. You know, people are starting to wake up and talk about things that it's worrisome to the powers that be. And so
Yeah.
one of the first things you noticed that came with COVID was the separation of people, putting stay home, 6 feet apart, trying to just I believe that's a way to keep people from spreading ideas and creating revolution. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so
It's interesting, man. I think that it's as we're headed towards this election, I was actually talking with Eddie last night. We were talking about this, and I was like, "Yo, look, this is the thing that I know mathematically is still going to happen, right? Like things that we know for sure are going to happen. We're going to have a mass eviction that's coming. Mass evictions are coming. That's just a matter of time. They're not. It doesn't seem like they're going to bail California out at all. Of course, he hates California.
oh no, he hates us.
Yeah. So that's going to happen. That will cause there'll be a mass exodus of California, which is already starting to happen a little bit. We have civil unrest, and we're in a pandemic, and we're headed towards all the stuff you're saying with some very, very excited people about people that are looking to back Trump. In fact, it's weird. You're already seeing the news starting to like double back on what they said about the polls. Oh, because remember when at the beginning they were like the polls show again that he's just going to get his ass kicked. He doesn't have a chance, and they don't want to make that same mistake again like they did the first time. And you could see the news. I was watching it this morning. They're already starting to back up on that, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be a little closer than we thought." And like, man, I feel this for sure, especially the stuff that's happening with like the mail, right? Like they're fucking with the mail. They're stopping Uber and Lyft. They're trying to stop Uber and Lyft. Basically, all the ways that like minorities or people with money vote and get to the voting places, all that's going to get slowed down right around November, right? So to think like this is the thing. And by the way, this motherfucker has said he's not leaving the White House unless he believes that it was a fair vote, right? Which, of course, he's not going to think it's fair.
I got to say this, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of shameful that a lot of my people, a lot of Cubans in Miami support this dude. And I kind of understand to some degree what they're trying to do and what they think they see in him. See, I know that Cubans came here in exile from a dictator. You know what I mean? And they lived through that communism shit. And so they are so grateful to be here, man. They bust their ass. They built that fucking city in Miami out there. And I know that they feel American because of that. And they want to prove their value here, right? And so they have that old school way of thinking that you back your country, you back your president, especially if they ain't in a fucking communist country like Cuba.
Right.
And so no matter who jumps in the White House, they're just like, I'm American. I got this. I'm down for this country because you motherfuckers bailed us out of Castro, and that shit ain't nothing as bad as that.
Right.
But that I get that debt of gratitude. I understand it. But you can't blind yourself to the shit that this dude is doing morally, criminally, just politically, everything just wrong,
Yeah.
And so it pisses me off when I see people like, especially my people, supporting this fucking dude. But I hope they can see now that, he pretty much is, in my eyes, like a Fidel Castro because, A, he supports all these dictators. He loves Putin. He loves Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
He supports all these dictators, man. He sees that vision of people following with no question. They don't check the news to see if he's lying.
Yeah.
They just live in fear of this man and follow him no matter what he says. And he loves that kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you would think that these people being through what they went through already with Castro, they would know better. They would already be able to see this shit. But the dude's a good con man. He's a good manipulator. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're vulnerable like that, where you're already feeling like, man, I owe this country because they got me out of this bullshit, then of course it becomes easy to follow that. But I don't agree, man. I see the devil in him. You know.
Yeah, it's in the thing about like minorities who support Trump. I feel you too, man. That's so weird. I was literally just having a conversation about like Mexican people because there's Mexicans for Trump. There's especially like in Texas, Arizona,
Weird.
and it's and I know the same thing too, right? You look at the mentality of those movements. A lot of them are there'll be a young face to it, but it's run by an older generation, and that older generation I understand, right? It's the same thing that you were talking about with the Cubans. Like they're like just thankful to be here. They don't want to stir up too much problems. He's the president. We should follow him. But the reality is like Trump, if you just look at all his moves, right? Like just mathematically, he's preying on poor people across the board. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. I mean, white poor people, to me, he's preying on them the most. He plays to everything that they want to hear, and then puts money from their pockets to more rich people.
Like literally, I mean, look at what busted his boy on what was it? What's his name? The guy that got caught
Epstein.
With the fake.
Yeah.
No.
Who?
Guy with the fake charity that just went to jail. Steve Bannon.
Oh, Steve Bannon. Yeah. Spending all the money. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Making them think, Mexico didn't pay for the wall, but if you guys donate, and they don't donate it to this idiot who lied to them, stealing their money and living off of this shit and paying.
And you heard that wall's on the ground right now, right? Like it blew over. It's literally on the ground. Like the one here in San Diego, they're on the ground. They didn't even work. They didn't even build on.
All they did was add 5 miles to the wall that was already there. 5 miles. That's it.
Wow.
And they're not going to get Mexico to pay for it. They're trying to get us to pay for it because Trump that guy, he can't follow through with anything. To top it off, he's not a good negotiator. He's just a hustler.
Yeah. I definitely feel that vibe. You know that, right? Like you've met people where you can look at Trump and go, "Oh, I've met 100 of yous." Like you can see it. Man. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in New York. I know those fast talking con men dude like that, bro. I know.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I stay away from that shit out here, but I'm just hoping people wake the fuck up, because I got friends, man, that are good people and they're smart and they still like this dude, and I'm just scratching my head like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How can you not see? I get it, man. There's some people that are so diehard for their political party that, they blind themselves to a lot of real shit, a lot of evil shit. They're just blinding themselves because they want to support their party. And I think that's ridiculous too, man, because if I saw anyone doing something unjust, I wouldn't support it, even if they were my blood.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I don't know if we are, with the statements that he's made about, if he doesn't win and people are like, they're going to have to pull him out of the White House. I was asking Eddie, I was like, man, dude, are we literally coming towards a time when, for the first time, at least in our lifetimes, we're going to see some sort of armed confrontation at the White House? Like, like who's with him? Who's against him? Has he talked to the military already? Like, like get my back, you know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? Because Pelosi said no more than one more day beyond the election will he be allowed to stay in office if he loses. Not one more day. And so she's like, if we have to take him out of there, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
They walk him out.
Can you imagine, bro?
That'd be great.
Can you imagine that?
I hope they drag his ass out of there by the hair and then it falls off and then pants fall off and you see his little wee.
Yo, man, because it's I feel like I feel for sure in his mind like he imagines that shit, right? Like he's like, yeah, we'll fight them back and we'll keep the White House and the military's going to come and get my back.
All these crazy militias to back him up too. So
yeah, bro,
got with guns that will fight for him, man. I guarantee you, it's going to get ugly if that dude loses. They're going to. You think that little white boy with the gun is one thing? There's going to be tons of those.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
dude. Because they're thinking this is it for us. This is the moment. There's a ton of people that are like, this is the moment. Either he wins and we win, right? "Quote unquote, we win." That's what these people are thinking, or he loses. And I mean, dude, we were running on another show I did. We were running all the stuff that the Republicans said at the GOP And they're literally just preaching death and destruction. They're like, yo, if he loses, dude, they were like, MS-13 will move in next to your house. Violence will erupt. I mean, they were saying these things, bro. Like, literally.
You ever watch the Stephen Colbert Show?
Yeah. I love it.
It was amazing last night. He had, or I think it was the night before, he had Winston Marsalis, the musician.
Yes.
Such a smart dude, man. The way he put it was perfect. You know, one of the things that he tried to express was like, well, how many times has MS-13 been to your house so far? It's like, exactly, man. You're talking stupid lies that weak-minded people will believe. You know what I mean?
I know, man. That's scary, bro.
If you live in that world of fear where you fear everything, of course you're inherently fucking racist and all that shit because you know, it's a lack of culture. It's a lack of interaction with other cultures, and you know, they rather hate than meet these people and get to know them and live next door to them. But let's face it, MAGA is a movement to bring America back to a time where they think that, you know, these white supremacist types could do whatever they wanted, from the White House to the street. You know, whether they wanted to lynch us or change laws or do whatever they wanted, we'd all have to deal with it because the white man and this white supremacist mentality group, you know, ran shit that way. But you know, kids nowadays, they're claiming they're, you know, woke or whatever, and they're starting to like literally, you know, investigate shit and research shit, and you know, they are the new scientists and the new researchers at these companies going, hey man, talcum powder, my mom uses this, I'm seeing that it's cancerous, how come you guys are still selling this, taking these people to court, putting them on Front Street, and people have to have, these major corporations are having to take accountability because these kids are getting smart, whereas past generations would just accept everything you put in front of their face, right? So MAGA's trying to bring the world, or America, back to the mentality where, you know, those white supremacists really ran shit in this country. But let's face it, even white men are starting to be, you know, interact with other races and intermix and mingle and have mixed children. A lot of white guys I know dating black women, Asian women, and all that, and their kids, man, they're these beautiful mixed babies. And I feel like that's gonna have to be the end of racism. Like when everybody's just a mixed baby.
Really.
You're gonna have to hate me for my area or where I live or some shit. But you know, so I'm glad to see people interacting and mixing and mingling. But that seems to affect certain white people to such degree that they want to change everything now. They feel like they just gotta wipe us out. Because that's gonna deplete their race. So to some degree, MAGA is like the white supremacist man's last stand.
I feel that, bro. I feel like that's what we are going through. Like, around a story, I do another show called Chris Sees the Internet, where we just go through the internet and the daily news, right? Like more truthful news than, you know, we're getting. But one of the things that we covered was the NHL walkout, and I heard all like the criticisms of the sports teams, like, oh, you know, fuck that, what are they doing, blah blah blah. This is what occurred to me though with the NHL, right? This is what occurred to me. You know, you and I both know the stereotypes that come with like the NHL fan, especially if you're a minority. You know, it doesn't feel welcoming to minorities. We know that there's only a handful of even black players, period. So if you're a fan, right, and you're racist, you had to sit there a couple of days ago and watch the entire NHL, mostly white people. And the captains talked, and most of them were white people, and they're the ones who started the movement. They were like, "Nah, this shit's got to change. Like, we have to change this now." So, at the very least, even if you say it didn't do anything, at the very least, a racist NHL fan had to sit there and watch as the thing that they love didn't agree with them. Like, they had to soak that in and sit and stew in that. And go like, well, these motherfuckers, they're walking out. I saw all the complaints, but a lot of them were very racist complaints. Like, what does that have to do with, you know, the NHL? As if it doesn't have to do with everything, right?
This is also where they started to feel like the whole politically correct thing was a kind of integration that they didn't want to see. Like, I've seen white men get mad at a drive-through because when he looked at the advertisement, it had like a white lady with a black male like husband
Yeah.
and the mixed, and then there was like an Asian lady in the back, and he was like, all this fucking politically correct bullshit. They have to put all these colored people here. This,
Wow.
that. I'm thinking, wow, it seriously bothers them to see
Yeah.
other people in any position of, whatever. That's just advertisement.
It's
But
just advertisement.
they're used to turning on the TV and seeing Barbie images.
Right.
They used to go
seeing
to the magazine
themselves.
and themselves,
Yeah.
all the movies, all the big actors, everything is them always on top. Always, the hierarchy is always them.
Yeah.
No matter what we talk about. And now they're having to integrate all these other little races next to them, because even at the companies that, black men, Hispanic men, Asian men, they're becoming CEOs. They're becoming, heads of corporations and companies and taking these big fucking jobs.
Yeah.
And all that shit's just driving them fucking nuts. They're like, that's enough. We need to bring this back to what it was when.
That's exactly what it is. I think it is that mentality. Yeah.
Everywhere you look, they want to see the white man in the picture first and biggest,
Yeah.
And that shit's not happening, bro. There's just too many of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what was so powerful about those things. Because to me, like, I just kind of laugh. Like, it's just a game. And I think that's what the players were saying too. Like, motherfucker, this is just a game. Like, this is not as important as what's happening out of here. In fact, we don't even feel comfortable playing. Like, you have us here playing.
All this shit's happening, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. And I thought that was super dope because for me, the first thing that my mind went to is some dude maybe in the South, maybe next door, sitting there going, God damn it, they got NHL too? Like, bro, dude, do you realize, like, when that NASCAR shit should be a holiday? It should be a national holiday the moment that they took away the Confederate flag. I mean, can you imagine people who've been going there for generations? Generations are literally like, the way they feel, and this is, I see Trump playing into this fear as well, though, right? Like, the way they feel was like, hey, they stole that from us. They took that from us. They don't want us there anymore. They don't want us there anymore. They're trying to take it from us. And I see him playing into that. Like, they're taking everything from you guys. You guys used to have freedoms, and you don't have them anymore. You can't walk your streets anymore because they're going to rob you. And that's how they want you dead. It's, man, and I don't see anything, like, when I look towards November, I don't see anything except bad shit that could possibly stop this train from going, right? There's nothing good that's going to stop. Like, there's not a good thing that's going to happen that's going to stop this.
I'll tell you a good idea that I heard, and this was on the Colbert Show. Stephen Colbert was suggesting that, oh no, it wasn't Colbert, it was actually Bill Maher. Now that I remember, Bill Maher said, just stop, get all your Amazon crap out of the way now. Get all the shit that you got to buy out of the way that you got to send through the mail now.
Yeah.
So that come November, as we get closer to November, we're not using the mail for all the little bullshit, for little postcards and all the bullshit that we usually do. Stop all that. At least do it for those 2 months. For the next 2 months, calm down on all the shit that you're mailing out, so that we give less shit for the mail to go through. When come election time, there's a lot less interference. So just stop mailing shit. Get what you got to get right now, and stop mailing shit until the election's over, man.
I hadn't heard that. That is an amazing idea. I mean, that's something that I think people could actually get behind. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you don't have to do a whole lot to participate in that. And I could see that really being a dope movement. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to watch that whole mail thing play out, man. Like, cause it's one of those things, like you said, there's people who watch it and go like, yeah, that's what needs to happen. But if you're a minority in America and you're just a little bit awake on what's going around you, you see that the attack on Uber and Lyft, the attack on mail, it's all things that minorities would use to, like, get out, right?
You see how he manipulates his minions to control these things? It reminds me a lot of The Omen, right?
Yeah. Damien.
Damien, as in the later versions of those movies, when he grew up, he became a politician.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he would have these meetings in these caves where his people would just come out and like they would just repeat like yes, like whatever. He would go out and kill the Nazarene, do this and do that, and they would just be like yes, like hypnotized.
Yeah,
and that's exactly how I see his followers, man. Like, you know, he's got people to go into the post office and interfere with the postal shit. Now he's got, you know, Uber and them, because he figures, you know, that's how Hispanics and black people are probably going to get mostly to the polls.
Yeah.
So let's fuck with Uber and you know, whatever. You know, the guy's just, to me, man, he's evil.
I feel you, man. I feel like it's some stuff is just, it's like, yeah, I'm with you, man, on the, I know people, I have personal friends, family who've supported him, and it's so confusing to me that I feel like they've also, one thing that Trump's side has done is done a really good job at making people feel like, well, if you voted for him, you should probably just stand by him, or that's going to make you look really bad. Like, just stand by it at all costs. Because I see these people, a lot of them, I know they don't believe what they're saying. Like, I literally know you don't believe what you're saying, but you can't. It's almost better just to say you do than say you were wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's a very American thing in itself, right? Like, let me see if I can come up with an answer that fits me first before I admit it's wrong.
He's that no accountability guy, you know. He hates to admit he's wrong, so he's trying to train people to think like that.
That same culture, you know, right? Yeah.
Back me up no matter what, you know. Even if I'm wrong, you got to back me up. We got this movement. We got to get it done. So you know that whatever I do it for that cause. Just back me up. Yeah. And that's pretty much his mentality, you know. But that also is, you know, communism, socialism, all that shit that they're afraid of. You know, they're not, you know, because I saw that in Castro.
Right,
you know, I heard the stories about these dudes, these dictators, you know. My family lived through that shit. So all it does is remind me of him. I'm like, how can anybody support this guy who's been through communism? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's that. I have a friend from El Salvador, and his, you know, he goes down and see his family all the time, and he comes back up, and he's just like, yo, man, I can't see why people would ever want this dude. He's like, do you understand like what could happen to your country? He's like, all you got to do is look south. Just look south.
Exactly.
And there's so many examples. And he's like, the thing that blows my mind, he's like, and he just became a citizen recently. He's like, the thing that blows my mind about Americans is that they never think anything will happen to them. He's like, even when it's happening to them, like it literally is happening right now.
His wife was even dressed like Castro at the.
Oh my God. Was that ridiculous or what?
I was like, damn, she looks like either a SS chick or a straight communist out of, you know, Cuba or something.
Did you see the face that she made at that all the left media is running? The face that she made at her daughter. What do you think that's about? Like, do you think what do you think that's like behind closed doors, bro? Can you imagine? I think she doesn't talk to any of them. By the way, I don't think she talks to any of them behind closed doors.
Yeah, I think for certain she can't stand him, because I mean she physically pushes him away in public. Like that's got to be that's horrible, bro.
Yeah, the fact that he's let her like just exist still is kind of weird to me. Like I'm like, what is this? She's got something on him. She's no dummy, bro. I know that.
The fact that she talked at the RNC makes me think that she's on some kind of like a contract, you know what I mean? Like she has literally, she gets her prenup intact.
I think so too, bro. That's literally what I was saying. I was like, the only reason she's even around is because she's. Yep. She's got to make a certain amount of appearances. She's got to do a couple speeches, and she can never disagree with. Because even in her speech, right? If you just followed her speech was disagreeing with a lot of the shit she was saying like cyberbullying is horrible. The internet needs to be controlled more. Literally, her husband's the biggest bully on the internet, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, dude. Like there was a bunch. She was throwing shots, and you could see it in his face as he was watching her. But yeah, I wonder, man. I've always wondered. I was like, what kind of contract does she have? Because they're not killing her. because they don't want to kill her because they can't have that happen. Not right now, anyways. She might be worried. These next 4 years, she should be worried.
Because watch her ass once they break up, though. She better not think about writing nothing, bro.
Can you imagine, bro?
Melania was in a sudden tragic car accident, and
oh my god, dude, her book alone, bro. My god, that's gonna be amazing.
She knows so much on that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and she's been embarrassed the most, right? Like, out of she arguably has taken the biggest hits, like socially, morally. Like, he's just fucking raked her. So she's got to want a little revenge. Yeah, bro. And didn't even apologize for it. It was just like, yeah.
Nope. And that's while she was pregnant with their son, dude.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is, like, all this shit has literally motivated me to make more music, dog.
Yeah.
I didn't hear really too many people touching upon it the way they should. At least not the way I feel about it, you know.
Yeah.
I started to collaborate with some musicians, man. I rounded up some people that you know, we haven't even really talked politics. I just think we agree. And, like in an unspoken way. But when we get in the studio, the music that pours out is definitely chemically there. You know what I mean?
Where are we at with it, man? Like, are we going to?
You're gonna hear something before the end of this year, man.
Nice.
I put it off for too long, man. We're literally finishing up the first single right now as we speak. I had my man Shovel from System of a Down. He's playing bass on it. I-Man's getting down doing some of his rock shit that he does. Is really dope. Myself, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's coming together, man.
Do you see it as because I know you have a tendency to do this. I know you like to do this. Do you see this as is this like a group thing, or is it like an ever-changing? Because I know you've done stuff like that where you'll like just change things around you constantly, even sometimes from song to song. Are you leaning towards this becoming like a group thing, or is it simply a project? Like, we're just.
You know, I see it as both, man. I see it as an opportunity to work with everybody that I've always wanted to collab with.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna limit it. At first, I was like, no, I don't want any guests. I don't want any guests because, you know, first albums should really be. That's one psychology that Psycho Realm lived by.
Yeah.
Philosophy, I should say, that Psycho Realm lived by, that I agree with, and that is, you know, your first album should really represent who you are. But the music was all produced by me.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Shovel sent me the bass line, he got the beat, he rocked it in the studio, he did his thing, but I still chopped it up and flipped it my way. You know what I mean? So no matter what happens, you're gonna hear, you know, DJFM production, you know, throughout the whole thing. It's my vibe, it's my music.
Yeah.
It's me sitting down with I-Man or Shovel, whoever is collaborating on that particular song, and telling them like, hey man, this is what the topic is about. Here's what the music is like, and then them kind of, you know, bringing their talent to the table, you know, via that
that's dope.
Interpretation. Yeah.
Well, I mean, arrangement. I mean, dude, 6 symphonies, like all these. You've been doing this stuff for a long time. Oh, that's fucking sick. So is this the logo, or one of them, right? One of the working logos. Yeah, that shit is hard, bro. I need a T-shirt ASAP.
The American Bastards.
I need that tomorrow. But so we'll get something by the end of the year, you're saying?
Yeah, by the end of this year, you're gonna hear the first single, first video, everything's covered.
Nice.
I want to put out the video at the same time. Yeah.
Let me ask you this though, man. Here's a big question, FM. We need to get to the bottom of this. When are we gonna get a DJFM podcast?
A podcast? What do you mean, like my own podcast?
Yes, man. Why? I mean, come on, bro. You're such a natural at this. You do this all the time. You could do a political podcast. You could do whatever you want.
It would be a mix of politics and conspiracies.
Yeah. I'm putting it out there right now. You should definitely do one. You need a home for it. We got you. I'm sure people would love to hear it, man. I'm just saying, like, we've been telling you that from, like, we like to have fun. We like to Monday morning quarterback. But at the same time, you're coming from an educated place. Like, you're not just saying whatever. Like, you are a dude who literally researches and, like, tries to study the layers, plus the fact that your background, your history of traveling the world, which gives you a whole nother view that a lot of people don't have. Like, you've seen other countries, you know what it's like in those countries. You've been all around the world. I'm just saying,
man.
I think I'm not the only one. I think a bunch of people that are listening right now are going like, yeah, let's do that. So just throwing it out there. We're still waiting on that FM podcast.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. Yeah, man. So the project, so we're going to get fuck, man. I'm finally going to get part of this project by the end of this year. 2020. Yeah, bro. The project you're working on has to come out in 2020.
2020.
Before 20 is over. It has to.
This year, dog,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know why.
I love that Public Enemy vibe, that Rage Against the Machine vibe, like all those groups that had that real rebellious, crazy street point of view.
Yeah.
Street perspective of everything that's going on. And that's what we are, man. It's just like street perspective on politics, on the world, because Psycho Brown, Public Enemy, a lot of that was considered like the CNN of the streets, because
absolutely.
But this is a little bit more intricate and a little bit darker, I think, in the sense that we're talking literally about politics at the current moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just politics, and it ain't nothing preachy, because I hate that preachy shit.
Right.
We just put it out there how we see it and how people in the street like myself are looking at all this shit.
Man, dude, I'm excited about that.
Everything on the riots and all this shit, and trying to make the BLM movement out to be something bad. They're trying to make fucking Antifa as if there's some fucking crazy terrorist group or some shit.
Oh my God, right?
Fascists. Like, what the fuck? You like fascists? Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? They're not over here. They claim that these dudes are blowing shit up. I'm watching these fucking guys. They're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
They're fucking protesters and all that bullshit. I don't see. I mean, if somebody got proof, footage or something, show me, because I'm open to all that. You know what I mean? I'm not closed-minded, and I'm not gonna back nothing up that I've seen is wrong. But as far as I know, man, we're pointing, not we, but the Republicans, the conservative Republicans that back Trump up right now, are pointing all the fingers at all the wrong people. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And they're trying to use all these things to manipulate their voters, their constituents, to think their same way. And I'm hoping to put a whole other message out there. And just like if you ever see Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. FM ruins everything.
Yeah, put the info out, and then he'll say, it'll be like a little a thing that'll say where it came from. Like, you can look this up yourself at blah blah blah.
I love that.
And that's what I want to do musically, man. I want to bring people information, a perspective from the street, and then something they could go look up themselves and research, man. Don't just believe me. Get pumped up. Let me pump you up, but then go out there and research that shit so you know it's real.
Coming next week on the DJFM podcast. See, I got you already, bro. I could be the voice. I could be. But hey, bro, like, let me ask you this, because I know this is something that's both near and dear to both of our hearts. Man, the live performance, bro, it has changed so much, right? Like, dude, I've tried the internet. Like, this I love, right? I fell in love with doing this crappy awesome thing like this, because you know how we used to do it. Like, we used to be carrying equipment and going upstairs and going to everybody's house. Not that I don't want to still do that from time to time, but this also gives me a chance to, like, you know what I mean? Like, reach out anytime. Like, you could literally call Crappy Awesome anytime and jump on now. Like, I love that part. But as a musician, this shit, I don't like it. I don't like the streaming performances. I respect to all my friends and stuff that are doing it. But man, it will never do the same thing it does to me.
About the guys that are doing it, it's about the fans, because you're losing the connection.
Yes.
Physically having faces in front of you and you seeing that reaction, you hearing it.
Yes.
It's a very different interaction. There's something that happens. There's a magic that happens when a good performer gets good feedback from the crowd. It just recycles and becomes this fucking flow of energy that it's good for everybody, man. It makes the show better. It makes the crowd have a better time. And it just, just goes around in that cycle. Whereas when you're performing in front of a camera and there's nobody reacting to your shit, you don't hear the crowd getting pumped up and screaming. You're kind of motivating yourself consistently. Just you know,
and it's not
it's
fun.
a different kind of energy you give.
Yeah,
And when you hear that crowd in front of you, that shit pumps you up, man. It makes you perform better.
Do you feel like they've taken that from us? Like, do you feel like when will we get that?
Because think about it. What is the greatest way that human beings connect that don't even know each other? It's music, it's concerts, it's festivals. You know, that is where people of all races will definitely connect. They're trying to separate us, man. They want us to hate each other and tear each other to pieces so that the few that are left are easy to control.
Man, I can tell you, dude, like the beginning of this year, I released a shitload of music, and I was really like working on music all the year before. Like, I want to make performance music. I always think with that in mind. Like, what is this going to be on stage? How is this going to be performed? And it was such a bummer, bro. I got one big show under my belt, and then it was a wrap. Like, literally, I did this one big show. I was like, yeah, that shit was hard. It was fucking amazing. A bunch of people came out, and then literally the next week, boom, gone. And I was like, fuck. Like, that's the part I try not to even think about that live performance part, because that is the part that I missed the most. It is the part of all of this that I missed the most. But I wonder, like, at Platform Collection, one of the conversations we're constantly having is like, what is going to take the place of that for the time being? And I don't think, as of right now, I don't think anybody has a really good idea. I've seen the testings. Like, I went to I don't know if have you heard about this? I went to a drive-in show. Not super whack. As a performer, I watched it.
You honk the horn?
Yeah, bro. And here's the thing. You're giving 20, 20, 30, 40 cars who are drinking and smoking, and they're in a car with a horn. So it's horrible, bro. Like, it's not conducive for live performances. Like I said, I've seen the streaming thing. It just doesn't do it for me. Like, I've watched some of these Versus. Have you watched the Versus stuff? So like, they're.
I know what you're talking about.
I've watched those, and they're entertaining, but it's like watching a TV show. You know what I mean? I'm not like, yo, this is that same feeling of, like you said, the energy exchange, which I believe in 100%. I think it is the magic of like what we do. That part is magic when you have a crowd in your hand and like they're with you. Like,
you want to know what's my favorite shit about being on stage? The feeling of being on stage, the moment where especially when the curtains are closed, it's the best. But when you're behind the curtain, for example, and out in the house, the lights go out. They know the show's the main act is coming on. When those lights go, boom, the whole crowd just goes.
Yeah.
They just roar like, oh, it's the moment we've been waiting for. And then I'm standing behind the curtains and I'm already hearing people yelling FM because they know I'm like the first one.
Yeah, the first one on stage. Yeah.
Always, right? So I'm already hearing my name outside the curtain. But when them curtains open up, man, the energy and the power of that crowd is fucking monumental, dude. I can't compare it to anything. I'll tell you
this, FM, that what you're explaining right there, it just dawned on me as you were saying this. That is for sure something that I would fight for. But I would fucking take guns up to have that back. You know what I mean? I literally would. Like, that is something that they cannot take from us, bro. Like, they can't take that from us. There's no way I would not allow that in any way to ever happen.
Do you think that this is gonna last like forever, or you think we're gonna be always gonna be separated like that? We're gonna be telling stories to our kids. Like, there used to be concerts where people would gather, and those movies where you see people in the crowd. That shit was real. It was That's not CGI.
I've thought about it like as like a as a musician and a performer. Like, I'm like, can I live my entire life never doing that again? Man. I don't know, bro. Like, I kind of feel like, for a lot of us, it is like it's part of our purpose, right? Like, so it feels like a part of your purpose is being taken away. But I am also like you, like somewhat of a futurist, somebody who's constantly looking to the future. And so I'm looking at it right now as like a Rubik's Cube of like, all right, there's an answer in this somewhere. Someone's just not doing it yet. They're not making the experience what it should be, because that's what it is, right? It's about the experience. It's about, dude, going to like drinking in the parking lot, getting ready. Oh shit, this shit's gonna be tight. I hope they do this song. I hope they do that song. I've been to a bunch of your shows. Like, that's what the vibe is, and that is part of the entire experience, and that is completely gone. And we have to figure out a way to give them that back, or we're not gonna have that connection. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna mean the same, and so we can't allow them to take that. We can't allow them to.
Music is such a powerful thing. Like, it affects people so emotionally, spiritually, everything, and it's a motivator. And they know, music has started and motivated revolutions. Guys like Bob Marley inspired people to think and even pray,
I'll tell you this. I've been with a gentleman where the music is so important that the feds are following him. I've been with individuals like that. Check out the past FM podcast on this if you want to hear that story. But I mean,
how they're gonna follow me now after I do this American Bastard
album. Bro, isn't that weird though? Like, we literally have a reference point that we can look back and go like, no, that was real. That actually does happen. People, the power of music is that powerful,
Yeah, we were literally in the middle of an interview, and you guys were asking me about that shit.
Yep.
Here comes this Fed in a Fed card trying to pose like he's shopping, and little did he know that the place that he was about to walk into
was closed.
Was a store, right?
Yeah.
So he felt stupid when he tried to. Oh yeah, I'm just here to go shopping. I'm not watching you guys at all.
Remember, he was dressed almost like if you got like a manual on like, here's how you dress hip hop for an older man.
Exactly.
He tried to have his hat on sideways. It was hysterical.
Yeah. And then you see the tags, Fed.
Yep. And I think, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember that he put his phone in his pocket so that it could video from his pocket, and he was like leaning into everybody? It was so ridiculous, bro. It was so, but seeing that though, like, this is what I've always thought about that moment, right? And I also think about like the privilege of being in that and seeing that, because many people live their lives thinking that all that kind of stuff is fake, right? They think that it's just conspiracy. It's just, oh, they would never do that. They would never follow an influential artist because they're saying certain things. Yes, the fuck they would. And yes, the fuck they do. We've literally seen that. And that should tell you how powerful music is. And that's why I think that the battlefront, we're going to play a very important role on that. You know what I mean? All artists are, obviously, right? They say after pandemics, every pandemic has produced a renaissance, right, in our history. I read a lot about the Renaissance. I got really into it once I started to read about like the 1812 pandemic and how things grew out of that. And it was a revolutionary mind led by artists, because they knew that if they could shut the artists down, they shut all the voices down, right? Like, that's how we speak. That's how we communicate on the street. And I see our opportunity for being like, literally you and I being alive and literally producing stuff for the new Renaissance. That's exciting to me. That's exciting to me, because that's going to be in a history book. This time is going to be in a history book. You know what I mean? And with the stuff that you have coming, bro, like, yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to ignore. I'm pretty sure you're going to have them right back on your ass again. Because, I mean, especially now.
The music itself is really aggressive, man. You know, some of it will sound like hip hop. Some of it will sound like rock. Some of it will sound like Middle Eastern music. Some of it, there's a lot of different, it's really eclectic, man. It's a big mashup of a lot of shit that goes on in my head musically. I've always wanted to make music with no limits. You know what I mean? I listen to groups like Massive Attack and Portishead. Sometimes I'll listen to, Slipknot or Lamb of God, or it could be metal, it could be rock, it could be hip hop, but all these different genres, somehow to me they mesh, they make sense together, and I've just never been able to really do that, because people that make beats usually make beats for other artists, and you got to cater to their sound and how they
Right.
rap and all that shit. But I'm not good at that. I like to make music how I make it from the heart. So I believe that this is going to be a true expression of me in every way, man. My heart, my mind, my soul. I poured everything into this shit. And yo, to collaborate with a dude, I didn't even want to tell anybody, but you know, Crappy Awesome's a good platform for that, man. You guys
Yes, sir.
have been doing real shit, dope podcasts for a minute, and you know, I just wanted to share that with you as a friend, especially because I know you like System of a Down. You know
Hell
their shit.
yeah, bro. They're in my top 5 of bands of
Dog,
all time.
you know, I had major respect for these guys since they first came out, and I got to perform with them once at a smokeout when I was DJing for SX10. Sendog from Cypress Hill
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
rock
yeah, yeah. I
called
remember.
SX10, and I used to DJ for them. And we were one of the openers at the smokeout and shit. And System of a Down played at that show, and I was blown away, man. You know, the music, the power behind the performance, everything. I thought, you know, hip hop should have this level of power,
Yeah.
you know, and I
Yes.
rarely see it, man. So
Yes.
I try to execute that through Psycho Realm. When I would perform, I would give like a rock performance
Yep.
on stage to this hip hop show. You know, it's what made me stand out from other hip hop DJs and shit. And I feel like the American Bastards is gonna be the epitome of that, man. Like that shit times 1,000.
Bro, I'm super
Collaborating
excited
with dudes
for it.
like Chavo is like, oh man, I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. Let me ask you this, man. We touch on this every once in a while. Where are you at? I'm just curious. Like, where are you at with? You've been wearing a mask for how many years now?
Since '96.
96. Do you ever see that changing? I know you're a private person. And it's actually benefited you a lot being able to wear the mask. But is there ever a time where you're just like, nah, I don't want to wear a mask anymore? Has there ever been a time like that where you're just like, man, I'm sick of this?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
actually is, and I'm gonna actually show my face for certain things because I started getting into acting, and I want to actually pursue it a little bit more.
Hell yeah. Hell
Things
yeah.
get
That's
a
dope.
little calmer. I actually got I almost had a chance to audition for this amazing thing on Netflix, man. And as soon as the COVID shit hit, everything, you know,
Yeah.
went to shit. So I myself have kind of neglected that. I've been offered a couple auditions and I neglected them, but I made a decision the past few weeks to pursue it because I feel like it's another way that I could express all this shit that's going through my head. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So there could be roles that I could do where I could help people think and you know motivate people to do the right shit too. So um I think
So the
acting,
mask might come off.
yeah, it's just another
Wow.
escape for me, man. You know, I was a kid with a rough ass childhood, and I like to I use a lot of things to escape, and I try to avoid using drugs for that escape, and
Right.
do things that uplift me mentally, like music. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
once I realized that acting could be that shit for me too, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna try. And so eventually, you know, people are gonna know who the fuck FM is to some degree. Hope they might put the two together, they might not. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's been literally, what did you say? 9 years? 10 years? How many years?
since '96, I've been wearing a mask.
Wow. Wow.
That's over 20 years, bro.
Tell us let me ask you this, man. I've never asked you this. Are there any downsides that come to wearing the mask that long, that many years?
Well,
That
to
people
some
might not
degree,
think about?
well, I mean, to some degree, you know, people, you know, they remember a face more than anything.
Sure.
So, you know, I did kind of seclude myself from fame, um,
Yeah.
more so than the other members of the group. So, you know, to some degree it's good, and to some degree it's bad because you know people don't see a face, they forget. They might hear the name and be like, "Oh yeah, I knew," but if they didn't really know, then I'll be a ghost to them because there's no face to remember or to go by. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that
What about just physically? Has it? I feel like maybe even your breathing has probably changed throughout the years. I wonder if you have really good lungs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's been, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense.
they say it affects your brain and all this shit. People
Yeah.
complain about wearing a fucking little mask now and all the lack of oxygen.
You've
And
been ready for years.
I'm like, you know what, man? I've been wearing a fucking mask since '96, and my brain's never functioned correctly. What do I care? You know what I mean? I'm already crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, at least, like socially and like style wise, you were pretty much prepared for all of this. It's not like you got the best mask in the city, so it's not like it's not like you had to go run out and buy a mask.
Yeah,
You were ready.
This one, it actually has on the inside. It has like a filter capability where you slide in a filter through here.
Oh wow!
You put it out, throw away the filter, you put in a new filter. So it's actually like some Sub-Zero shit.
Yeah, it looks like Sub-Zero. That's dope. That's dope, man. Yeah, I just always wondered that. I was like, I wonder if he's like he's gonna say like, yeah, like my nose has always like been fucked up right at that mark, or like my my eye, like my tan has been weird, like you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story though. The first tour that we went on as Psycho Realm, right after the album release, the first album release,
yes,
was with ICP, Insane Clown Posse. I've told you about that.
Yep.
And we were opening up for them at a time when they were like really blowing up. And I remember, for me, it was my first bus tour, so I didn't really know much about the bus rules and all this shit. And so I claimed the back room, not knowing that it's like an entertainment room for everybody.
Right. That's the shared room. Yeah.
And I went and claimed that shit for starters, but for some reason nobody wanted to tell me nothing. I don't know if it was the mask that people thought I was crazy or something. But at some point in the tour, like towards the middle of the tour, I was in that room working nonstop with my MPC on the table, my turntable there. I was sampling shit and killing beats, chopping them up with the MPC. But I like to smoke when I'm working on beats. Right. And I didn't have a pipe or a bong or nothing or papers, but I had weed. So I had my gas mask bong that I would use on stage. It literally has a bong attached to the gas mask filter. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so I didn't want to be putting on the mask, taking off the mask. So I would just sit in that room as we drove from state to state for like 12 hours, however long we drove, with the mask on. I wouldn't even take it off. I would just pack a bowl and look at the drum machine through the eyes of the mask. And the dudes would go in the back to check on me, and they would those ICP guys would be like, "Hey, Jack, is your boy okay? He's got that mask on a long time.
He's just got a bunch of cloudy.
Is he weird like that? Or what's wrong with your boy?"
That's crazy, man. Yo, it's man, I've thought about like before I was getting ready for this interview, I was thinking about like, man, like the things that I've known FM for a bunch of years. He was a dude that like we almost immediately clicked like when we met. It was weird too. We met like weird circumstances, like shit. People knew people, and next thing you know, I think you started coming through. I think we were doing Proof of Life radio when you very, very first came through, bro, which is crazy to think about. Bro, we hadn't even thought about the podcast yet. Like that's how long I've known you. I've been on stage with you. I've had the honor of doing that. Like it's been really cool, man. And you're one of those people that I'm always trying to check on. I want to make sure that you're always like attached to the stuff that we do. And somehow I really want to get behind this project when you guys drop this. I would love for for you to come through again and push that project. I want that on the front page of Platform Collection for sure. And I want a podcast, FM. I want to fucking do a 30-minute podcast. Do whatever you got to do. Play half music, half talking, whatever you want to do. I think the concept would be dope. I just feel like this is what I honestly feel, brother. Like, all joking aside, I just think that we're in a time where like voices like yours are super important, and they're also super rare. You know what I mean? You know that I've spoken to over 400 or 500 people on this show. Your voices like yours are super rare, because they, like, at the end of the day, what you want is like what's best for people. Like, that's mostly what you want. People to be happy. You want people to be free. And we need more of those voices. And I think we need ideas on how to do that kind of shit. You know what I mean? There's not enough. Yeah. I've said this about you. You said a little thing about the youth early on, man. Bro, I'm super proud of our youth. Like, especially in the hip hop community, I'm super proud. I think that we need to defend them and help them as much as possible. So like I said, like voices like yours are so important, man. I want to thank you for being on the show, dude.
Right.
We're going to do this a lot though, bro. We're going to do this a
Yeah.
lot because we could do this anytime now. So
Right.
we're going to do this a lot. I want you to come through again, especially when the project comes. There it is. Look at it. The American Bastards coming soon by the end of the year, yo. 2020 people. 2020, we're finally going to get it. It's going to be amazing. And you're going to hear it right here for sure. You'll hear it right here for sure. Again, if this is your first time tuning in, catch up on FM's history. Amazing stories, by the way. The first person still ever on Crappy Awesome to now a bunch of people have followed suit, but don't get it twisted. The first person ever to tell a true UFO story on our show was DJFM. And that changed a lot because now we talk about it a lot and we're always asking people. We got to have you on for a whole nother one of those, bro, because I got a bunch of shit on that.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. So thank you again, DJFM _LA, right? Yeah. If you're watching it, it's right there on the screen. If you're listening to this, you can go watch the video, YouTube, Instagram. And if you got to watch this live, shout out to you because that's dope. People know that they can now sneakily watch it live, but this will be out in a couple days on all the platforms. So check it out, stream it, like it, subscribe it, and follow DJFM _LA. Follow everything he does. This dude is solidified. He's one of those dudes that I'm going to know forever. So please follow my G. Dude, thank you so much, man.
Yo, thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, all right?
Oh yeah, good talking with you.
Yeah, that was DJFM, y'all. It's amazing to know a dude like him, so accomplished as an artist, so accomplished as a DJ, so accomplished as a creative. I've been hearing about this project, this American Bastard project. You know, full transparency, I've been hearing about it for a long time. This is something that I know he's poured his heart in. If you know his skill level, that is a good thing. Because his skill level is very high. And his influences are amazing. And I know, just talking to him personally, that he's been looking for a project to put together all his influences, and he's been trying to solve that creative problem for a long time, and I think he's finally done that with this project. I know he's super psyched about it. Like I said, I could see it in his eyes. Well, I could see it in his face. You guys got to see it in his eyes. DJFM, man. Follow him, DJFM _LA. Platformcollection.com. Go there now. We got a bunch of dope new music up there. Shout out to all our affiliates. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to B-Side Show. Shout out to Hip Hop Wins. Shout out to Bars Weekly. Go check out all these things that we're talking about because they're things that keep the community going. Shout out to OG Husky Radio. Shout out to Beardo. Go check out Beardo stuff. Who else do you need to go check out? SD Music Room. But go over to platformcollection.com and check out my killer staff. They're just killing it, yo. Killing it. Show after show, content after content. They're giving you a lot of content. Platform Collection is putting together almost like a TV station, it feels like. You know, they're going to try to cover every part of the week with new shows. Let's hold our fingers on that DJFM podcast, though, right? Because that'll be amazing. It's overdue. It's overdue. He's a good friend of ours. We should try to make that happen, right? You think we should try to? We'll make that. We're going to try to make that happen. DJFM _LA. Go there. Crappy Awesome. That's us. My name is Kill C Ray, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have an amazing week. Stay safe. And cover your mouth. What's wrong with you?